Within the past few days, we have seen a rash of aircraft orders, some of them quite large. At the same time, oil prices are soaring towards levels last seen in 2008. IATA is downgrading its profit forecast for the industry, and the situation in the Middle East is unstable to say the least. What gives?
All very good points and a good question. There does seem to be a fair amount of irrational exuberance in the industry these days. But if we look below the surface, the first thing to point out is that the aircraft being ordered today, by and large, aren't typically going to arrive for at least a few years. So we're not talking about an airplane being ordered today and arriving in the middle of the summer when fuel prices are through the roof. The Neo, the A320neo, won't even begin to deliver until 2016. So again, we have a fair amount of a lag in that sense. Also, for the most part, the orders that are being placed are not being placed by North American carriers, nor largely by European airlines, but by carriers in the fastest growing parts of the world. So you have Cathay Pacific in Hong Kong ordering planes, you have Air China ordering airplanes, you have Hong Kong Airlines ordering airplanes, Aeroflot ordering some, probably a better outlook than much of Europe for them because of the oil situation. And even within Europe, if we exclude the recent Iberia order, which is largely a replacement, the Turkish Airlines order, Turkish is Europe's fastest growing network airline. They really are in a different position than most of Europe's other flags. And then, of course, with the leasing company, with ILFC's very large order, most of their customers aren't in North America. Most of their customers will never be in North America, so they're not betting in that market. The U.S. carriers, of course, are shrinking capacity. They're more inclined to be in a situation where they're taking aircraft out, not adding them. Another factor to consider is the state of the dollar, which continues to weaken, and which is probably one reason that oil prices are driving higher, oil being priced in dollars. If the airline operates outside the U.S., is based outside the U.S., and is not relying on the U.S. currency, the rapid run-up in the price of oil has far less impact to the carrier than it is to the U.S. carriers, which obviously buy and sell in dollars. So that's another thing. So when you take all those things together, it's apparent that, yes, I mean, there is a little bit of exuberance. One last factor to remember is that traffic is still quite strong. Demand is quite strong. So if your expense input oil is going up at some point, but at the same time you're turning away passengers, you can continue to raise fares. So for all of those reasons, all of these orders at a point when things really look scary do have an explanation.
Does the industry structure contribute to this imbalance, this trend of haves and have-nots?
Yeah, it does. You look at the U.S. airlines and the European flag airlines. They are, by and large, their domestic markets are largely mature, particularly in the U.S., where the domestic market has really shrunk for the major network airlines. Half of U.S. departures, more than half, are now operated by regional airlines. And they are not in a position, owing to the regulatory structure of international aviation, to take advantage of growth in other parts of the world. I'll give you an example. If you're an automaker and you're selling cars in China, you can announce that, owing to strong growth in China, you're exporting more cars to China. Maybe you're going to build a factory in China. And it doesn't matter, you might say, well, our U.S. domestic market sales are flat or declining, but thanks to growth in Brazil, or thanks to growth in China, or South Asia, India, we're doing just fine. If you're a U.S. airline, you don't have that option. Foreign ownership restrictions, right of establishment restrictions, make it impossible to take advantage of this kind of thing. And the clearest example is when you look at the express freight carriers like FedEx and UPS, which truly are global, which truly do operate inside other countries, which truly operate inside China, and they are far less vulnerable to the fact that the U.S. domestic market may not be growing that much.
Thanks, Perry.